Welcome to Above the Treeline Canyon Commentary. This is, I'm not sure what episode I'm on right now, but episode 8, episode 9, whatever. We're going to talk a little bit about systems under stress and how that applies to the trail and how that can apply to real life. Let's get into it. The lesson here is a lesson in systems preparation and then how you interact and move through it. The system being the trail, your equipment, and your body, how it adapts, how it reacts, how it responds to is systems under stress. Okay? So what is this about? Well, I was actually starting to get a little bit concerned as I was approaching bar camp, because I was feeling I had to stop every 200-300 feet. I was getting winded really easily, legs starting to get in a little bit of the wobbles, and I'm like, uh-oh, did I push myself too far, too hard, etc.? Am I going to have to spend more time up here than I want to recover before I head back down? High and dry climate, right? You're going up 4,000 vertical feet in elevation all in one go, and if you're not properly fueled, not properly equipped, properly hydrated, that is going to wipe you out. So what could I have done differently? I probably could have sipped more fluids on the way up, could have had more electrolytes or small snacks on the way up to buffer the deficit I was in when I finally rested. Because when I did get there, I stopped for a good half hour, 45 minutes, fueled up on hot cocoa, coffee, electrolytes, and the best snacks that I have on me. Dried ice cream sandwich, Traverse bar, which is a homemade concoction, and a couple other little goodies that I had. Give myself half an hour, and I'm right as rain, like lightning in a bottle, ready to go. And I'm plowing downhill. I think I've already gone about a mile already. My legs are like, ooh, let's go. My body's like, ooh, let's go. So the lesson here is understand the environment. It's like if you're feeling just a little bit off, stop, catch your breath. Stay properly fueled and know your limits. So part of this was, this is a bit of an endurance test, was trying to meet a timeline rather than listening to my body to stop and refuel, even if it meant doing it before the camp. I mean, there were advantages to, so that's the lesson. When you're in a system, listen to the signals, because the system may put you under stress, right? Hiking up Pikes Peak is no easy matter. It's quite a challenge for people who are even in the best of shape. But lessons learned, yeah, obviously. It's, it's okay to stop a little sooner and give yourself a little bit more rest and fuel before continuing on. Now you're less buffered by the wind and the cold. You also don't have as much margin because you expended a lot of that energy going uphill. So the goal is to get home safe every time. Stumps. And sometimes you have to make a decision to work with the system you have because you don't have another option. Sometimes you have to, quote unquote, stay put. It's a little bit oxymoronic because I have to move on the trail to get back down to my truck. But if you think about it, the trail is the system, the board, and move through it with your knowledge, skill, and recognition, because the trail is like going downhill here. This is my only, I can't simply walk out where there's no way else to get out of this aside from calling a helicopter, and obviously I don't want to do that. This is the environment. So if you think about it, this is where I am, quote unquote, stuck. So how do I make do with the environment, even though in some ways it is a little uncomfortable? Because it is a long trek down. It is tiring. It's gonna get cold later. And weather-wise, told it's gonna be perfect all day. That's great. And so a little bit of preparation is currency out here. When conditions turn, when things don't go exactly the way you want or the way you expect, can you still function within the system? So the winds pick up, it starts snowing. Can I still function out here? And I believe I can, because I've got other layers, I've got a headlamp, I've even got an emergency shelter in my bag. So I've also got enough food and water to last me about a day. So if I were to happen to get stuck, I can survive for a little bit until it's safe for me to make my exit. A little bit of preparation goes a long way. And it's not about fear. It is about, again, it's about recognition. Where are you? And life does a lot of the same kind of thing. Where you are, like even, where you live carries constraints, demands, requirements of you. Like, what do you want from where you live? Where you function, where you live your best life. So on the trail or in life, life puts limits. You have your own limits, and there's no shame in admitting that. We have our health, limits of our physical fitness, limits of mobility. So what can you do within those, your own personal constraints, and also your environmental constraints? Right? Constraints here are, I've got snow, I've got distance. So I've got to move through it like that. So in conclusion, here's a final example. Up here, when you're moving at a nice steady clip, it actually feels pretty good. Quite enjoy it. It's not overpowering. You're not sweating buckets. You're not. It's like, feels wonderful. What happens when you stop, though? Because up here, temperatures up here I think are in the 20s or 30s, and the wind is breezy in spots. Problem out here in this kind of weather is not the cold per se. It's not actually the big thing about Colorado that's a problem. It's the wind. So whether you like it or not, yeah, you have been sweating. You've been exerting. You're oozing fluids. And when you stop, all of a sudden that wind is going to catch it, and then evaporative cooling is going to cool you off pretty dang quick. So that's a constraint up here that you always have to pay attention to, right? So distance, how far can you go? How much water do you need? How much food do you need? How far or close are you from help, from civilization? Understand your environment. be prepared for it, because whether I like it or not, this is where I am until I get back to my car. And like it or not, that's kind of the way life works too. You are where you are. If you have the ability to move around, that's great. But generally speaking, and sometimes environments become intolerable, that's okay. And there's more to be discussed about that in later episodes. But because the lesson is, this is where I am. I have to function on the trail to the best of my ability, because I don't have a choice. I am more or less stuck here. So, I've repeated that point a couple times, so it's an important one. And it's going to be central to some of the things that are upcoming in the near to midterm. Systems are constraints, but how you move through them depends on what you require and the amount of risk tolerance you're willing to accept and how much margin you can create. So, in conclusion, I guess to close, the first couple years back, my family made a trip out here, and I rediscovered how much I enjoyed moving under my own 2 feet, being in the mountains, just getting your heart rate up, getting the miles under your feet, and just having that as your backdrop. Well, the mountain back there anyway. Just how much I remembered how much that mattered. And it was like a bit flipped in my brain. It's like, I can't live the way I'm living anymore. We made a hard choice. We moved from where we were to Colorado, so we could live healthier and be happier. And so far, it's done a world of good in more ways than I can describe. And I'd have to say Pikes Peak, or rather, like being in the shadow of Pikes Peak was the spark that lit the fire of getting my health back on track. So, being out here, walking in its environs, is liberating in a way that is very hard to describe. So, I guess that's all for today. It's been Canyon Commentary with Above the Treeline. I'll see you on the summit.